If reposted.
Came across an article on Indeed that talked about the benefits of volunteering, and I've really never thought too much about what volunteering really means. And I'm curious what your thoughts on it. I looked it up. The definition to volunteer is to freely offer to do something. And for me, it's kind of always been associated with like a 501c3 or nonprofit organization. But like, does it count as volunteering if you go to your neighbor and say, "Hey, I want to cut your grass for you"? Like, what do you think volunteering is, or what's the spirit of volunteering to you?
Here's what the spirit of volunteering is to me. I'm glad you asked me this question. It's when you don't feel like you're checking off a box to make yourself feel good. Now, I've been there. I've been like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the food bank so I could check that box and then I can get drunk the next night or whatever it is. Like honestly, when you're
Very
doing,
Catholic of you.
yeah, it's totally, it's very, very like, what's that word that Catholics say for that? It's like not punitive, but anyways, where you do something good because of the bad you,
Repentance.
your repentance kind of thing, right?
Uh,
And by the way, I've been there. I'm sure we've all been there where we just want to like check off the good box. That's not what volunteering is. I have the answer of what it is not. That's it.
okay, so by the rule of negatives, we can finally get there. I mean,
Yeah.
the article goes on to talk about like the benefits of it, and I think it's a good reminder that I've done it. Even if you do it to check off the box, like you can feel good. Something I thought about like during the pandemic right now, like you might, it's easy to think you can't volunteer, but you still can. And I think the biggest thing that you can get out of it is developing like a new skill or developing interacting with different people, because no matter what you do for your work, like you're going to be within this bubble of people that is homogenous on some level. And if you volunteer at a different organization or just gets outside of your comfort zone, you're going to grow.
No, absolutely. I think it's really kind of fun. I volunteered a number of organizations, and it's fun, yeah, to see who shows up. People from like Salesforce, or I met someone from an architecture firm once. Yeah, you're right. The people you meet that are kind of, and the only thing about that, though, I will say is that they were all there because their work told them to be there. It was like
Right.
Salesforce Volunteer Day, and I was like, oh, okay. But you know, I get, once again kind of get the idea. Salesforce wants to have a good name out in the community, so that's why they do it.
Yeah, and then I keep coming back to, is it possible to volunteer for a selfless, completely selfless reason? Because I always feel like maybe I get more out of it than the people I'm there to help. Like you have a good time, like you pat yourself on the back, whether it's earned or not. You're like, yeah, I did something good. I mean, it's kind of like going on a run. You feel better after you're doing it. I don't know if I can volunteer completely selflessly.
Hmm. Interesting. Good confession there.
Yeah.
We're really going Catholic this today. I like it.
Forgive me, Larry, for I have sinned. It has been 3 months since my last confession. I even things that have gone bad. I went on a medical mission trip right after college to Guyana, which is in South America, and I probably didn't almost die, but I think I almost died. I was in the hospital for a couple of days, and
Oh,
I thought that was the end of the road. And
did,
even that experience, um, was something to learn from. I guess maybe volunteering is getting out of your comfort zone to grow who you are as a person.
did you have a tapeworm? What happened?
Uh, no, I did. Like if I said draw the sketchiest bodega in a third world country, picture that. I ordered a milkshake from there. It tasted real good, but I got real sick. So yeah.
So
Um,
I feel like there's lots of lessons you could get out of today. One of those being don't order a milkshake in Guinea. Just maybe third
right,
world countries, you just lay off the milkshakes, maybe emerging markets. You don't.
right. Do you consider yourself more of someone that gives back on your own terms, or do you do it through an organization? Because I feel like you're always doing something uh, to something positive. So like, what's
Oh,
your approach to it?
look at that. We learned
Maybe you're
another thing.
not. Maybe
You know, I have struggled with volunteerism like throughout my life because I never wanted to do it to check off a box. I was always hoping like, how could I volunteer at a place that would really need a 5'10" really bad radio DJ? I was always kind of struggling for this.
Mhm.
And then about 5 years ago, my friend Paul opened a community center and he would have me come and do trivia like every other week. And it was like amazing how like my really bad radio skills matched with this need for people to feel like they were in a living room for a while.
Right.
So it did not feel like volunteering. And for like the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I was checking off a box. I was like, hey, my skills are matching up with people that need my skills. It was like a really beautiful moment right until the pandemic hit. And then I decided I couldn't necessarily go down to the Tenderloin as much as I used to.
You decided to wash your hands like Pontius Pilate.
I mean, it doesn't feel good.
I kind of think there's a similarity, at least for me. Like we talked about how if you have friends or family that are going through something hard, you just have to be there for them. And like I overthink it. And I volunteered at a place in high school at an equestrian therapeutic riding center. So like people would go ride horses and it's like a physical therapy. And they have one of those in Malibu. And I've talked myself out of going there for the last 5 years because I'm like, my schedule is erratic. I don't want to commit to something that I can't be at 100% of the time. But then maybe if I'm there 50% of the time, are they going to be better off? I mean, I think all I'm trying to say is I see a similarity. It just occurred to me that like, you just have to show up. You don't have to do it perfect, but like, just kind of be there.
I feel like that's definitely a bingo square. You just pulled it, just volunteer, just do it.
Just do it.
Just show there, go
for it.
My favorite volunteer thing in the whole wide world is me and Karen just got married and we started to volunteer at a place called the Pomeroy Center. And it's a place with people with disabilities. They sort of live there and do a bunch of things. And we volunteered in their stage production. So they would put on a play. So we were in this play with disabilities. It was like the most amazing thing. And like we had an actual play and people came and we were in it. It was just incredible.
Yeah. I mean, volunteering, the poster for that should be making life memories. Because honestly, I mean, that sounds really cheesy, but get out there and do something, man.
And, you know, I just want to shout out my favorite volunteer, intern Kirk, who's a scout master. I think he's like the Boy Scout for Troop 282 down there on the peninsula. Shout out to all my troop masters out there.
Well, if you're in the Cub Scouts and you like putting your thumb on the scale of the Pinewood Derby, please reach out. You can find us at Reposted Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I'm Andrew Keller for Secretariat saying thanks for stopping by.